All right, Max Ebanks, welcome to the 152 show, brother.
Thank you for having me. It's real cool being here.
Absolutely, my guy. So, before we start, and we got some real cool stuff to talk about today. A proposal to uh improve the New York State tournament, right? The New York State Championship. But before we get into that, I just want you to introduce yourself and tell the people a little bit about you.
I'm Max Ebanks. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. Um, I'm now in Chicago. I'm coaching out here. And I just love wrestling a lot. That's really all there is to it.
Yep. Yep. So, it's been real cool that, a lot of the content that I've been doing, you'd always reach out to me on DM and, something that I notice about you is you're very analytical and you're really good with statistics. You would always bring up uh facts and be like, yo, it was like this back in this time. And then you would, have a whole bunch of, statistics to back it up. So I could tell that you're definitely analytical mind, you know what I mean? And you're definitely a wrestling nerd and I love that because I'm the same way myself. So something that me and you definitely agree on and something that we talk about a lot is reforming the New York State championships, wrestling championships, right? We believe that there's more that we can improve this thing and that we have more to give as a state. And then you went and put some work in and you came up with a proposal to improve the tournament. So I'm going to let you steal the show right now and go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you created here.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just gonna pull up this PowerPoint real quick. So I put this together. This is just if I was running the tournament and I made all the decisions, this is how I would do it. You've done
Okay.
a lot of interviews and shows on the past, just talking about what you think, and I agree like 100% with what you've been saying, right? I feel like, I'll just get into the slideshow and that'll everything will be in there. So right now, the current problem is that, it's a section-based qualification system, meaning that one person from every section is guaranteed a spot in the tournament. So you got guys from section 10 who have losing records, they're guaranteed a spot. That's
Mm-hmm.
easier than most in-season tournaments. You win that, you're in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's an unbalanced talent distribution. So, again, that spot that section 10 guy's getting, whoever took fourth at Suffolk County or fourth at Nassau County, they're not getting that spot, even though they
Mm-hmm.
might be 10 times the wrestler than that Section 10 kid. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
about making sure that all the right people are in the event.
Mm-hmm.
The weaker sections advance easier. And then, you talk about we have this depth problem in New York where the champ's good, the finalist is pretty tough, but that third, fourth, fifth, sixth, it's like a big drop off. So for a
Mm-hmm.
state with that issue, to put it into two divisions, I feel like you're really just if it was one division, we'd still have that issue. We don't have all those nationally ranked guys, but it being in two divisions, it makes it that much less deep and easy to place at.
Absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed there.
Yeah, so the goal of this proposal is to just reward season-long performance, meaning like if you're going out, if you're putting yourself out there, representing yourself, representing New York, going to Beast of the East, going to Ironman, going to Powerade, going to all those tough tournaments, that you should be rewarded for that. This promotes meaningful competition. So it's like guys are trying to get the toughest matches and not trying to, you know, protect their record. You got guys who are 25 and 0 but they don't wrestle outside their section, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why if
Mm-hmm.
they wrestle outside their section, if they go to Eastern States, they'd have a couple losses on their record.
Yep.
Um, Identify all the best guys. Make sure that the bracket is filled with, everybody in that bracket should be a tough wrestler at the state.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then just improve the match quality and still make it all fair, still make it so that you're not sending 16 guys just from Suffolk County. There's still that regional aspect to it where, you see
Mm-hmm.
the representation throughout the state, but it's all good wrestlers and it's all the best guys.
Okay. Following you
So
here.
to start, I would get rid of the Nassau County qualifiers in Suffolk County, its league. I'd get rid of that. And that's
I
because
agree with that.
nobody is driving 2 hours to go and watch that event. You go to the
Mm-hmm.
Suffolk County tournament, all the guys you expect to be there are typically there. I
Mm-hmm.
can't think
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna ask you, can you think of a time where somebody who was supposed to qualify for Nassau counties didn't qualify for Nassau counties? That was like in the mix to win it.
No, I mean, I would say qualifiers are pretty straightforward. I mean, it's usually one person dominates the whole thing. Sometimes if two people that are good, like, you might get two ranked guys that meet in the finals, but I believe I'm not exactly sure how many it is now, but when I was in school, it was the top four in the qualifier would make it to the counties. So I'm not sure if it's still the same, if it's top four, but if it is, I mean, listen, the four guys that are supposed to go are pretty much going to make it there. There's not too many upsets. Maybe there's an upset of somebody losing in the final, but that person who lost is still making it to the county tournament. So it doesn't really make a difference. The only thing it makes a difference for is seeding, right? So if you don't win your qualifier, you cannot be one of the seeds, right? You get the guys who win and they get those first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth seeds. But if you lose, you can't get seeded. So that's pretty much the only thing that would be considered an upset, that somebody lost and wouldn't get a seed. But other than that, I would say everybody who's supposed to be in the county tournament is making it there, because the qualifier is not, it's not that crazy of a tournament. Leagues is, tougher just because it's Suffolk County, but still, I would say everybody who's supposed to be at the county tournament is going to be there, barring injury. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I say everybody's going to be there.
No, absolutely. And that's why I created the system. I call it the Sweet 16. So what you do here is you look at the section, right? Division one and two. And this, we'll get more into later, but in this proposal, it's a combined Division one and two tournament.
Yes.
Um, you look at the 16, you look at everybody's resume, right? So everybody has their season and their career, and that's basically their resume. We
Mm-hmm.
got 16 guys for the job. We got 16 open spots. Who gets them? So, they're gonna take the 16 best guys who had the best seasons. That's gonna be the tournament. You don't need that Nassau County qualifier. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
easy to be like, okay, these are the guys. And people might
Okay.
be like, oh, well, such and such might miss out because of a decision. The whole purpose is that we're trying to get, the qualification going for states. This is going to start into another tournament, which is going to go into states. So those number 10, number 11, number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 guys, they're kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, look, we're giving you a shot here. That's kind of
So
it.
how are they getting? How are we deciding who the 16 wrestlers are?
That's going to be at the bottom right there. The selection considers strength of schedule, right? So if you're going to Ironman, you're doing well there, you get selected. You place at Eastern States, that basically guarantees your spot. Just the 16 best seasons, quality of wins, head-to-heads obviously matter, tournament
Mm,
performance, your record. There's going to be a bunch of things, and this is all in the proposal, which is going to be in the link in the bio. But
okay.
there's just basically just the 16 best seasons create the sectional tournament.
So is it's the coaches that are, is there like going to be like a seating meeting or something like that? Like who's the one that's based off of this criteria, who's going to pick the 16 wrestlers that are going to go to this straight into the county tournament?
It'd be like a seating meeting. It'd be like the coaches. It would be like if we're seeding 16 guys for a tournament, who would be the
Okay.
16 guys that we seed?
Okay. Okay, that's interesting, because I know for college, um basically, like, the coaches have to submit which wrestler they're going to push into the postseason. You know what I mean? Like they have to do like a submission before. So I guess it would be something similar to that,
Well,
where they,
I think what it's most similar to is the NFL playoffs because
okay,
in the NFL playoffs, right? Not if you have a losing record, you're not in the playoffs. They're like, why are you even here?
okay,
So they just take all the best teams and those are the guys who make it. And then they got the wild card that gets you in, but it's the idea of these are the best guys, these are the guys who get in. And
okay,
we got this many spots.
okay. All right, cool.
You
So
could also
sweets.
still do that qualifier. It would just make it a 4 week long postseason, which is pretty long for a postseason. But you could still do that qualifier if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think that a lot of coaches, they, basically in the qualifiers, it's like everybody in the county goes to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the qualifiers is like every single wrestler that's competing for the team, all your spots, they go. So I guess, yeah, it would just be like um I guess it could be essentially like a qualifier, and then only 16 wrestlers make it to the actual counties from
Yeah.
from each qualifier for every weight class,
You could
which
go
would
either
be
way.
cool.
What this would do is it would push the teams to really go out there and seek those best tournaments and best competition so that they have the
Hmm.
better resumes.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Cool. I like it.
After this, and then this is the biggest change in the whole proposal. This is what the proposal is named after, is this tournament
Mm,
right here, the regional tournament. So
okay.
you wrestle at the county tournament, right? You place top eight. Now you go into your regions. And right
Mm,
here is all the different regions. So I put this one first because I think that this would be the highlight of the whole thing is the Long Island region. You got the top eight guys in Division One and Two in Suffolk County versus the top eight guys in
Nassau.
Section 11 in Nassau. Yeah, my bad. Um, all in one bracket. And then the top six there are the guys who go to Albany. For downstate, that would be the top six in Section 1, top six in Section 9, and then the PSAL top four. In the
Okay.
upstate region, you would have the top eight there, and then the top four from Section 7 and 10. And then so
Okay.
on and so forth. You could see it there. I don't need to
Yeah,
list all
yeah,
of
I
them
see.
off.
So Central region top eight, top eight. Western region top eight, top eight. Okay. CHSAA and NYS. So the private, okay, top eight. Okay. I like this. So okay, so top six in each region qualify for states. So how big are these brackets in the regional tournament? Because you said counties would be like 16. How many people are in the regional brackets?
Also 16. So at
Also
counties,
16.
you place top eight at counties, you go here.
Oh,
In the
okay, top
16
eight
man
and top eight.
bracket,
Okay.
just
I
like the
see.
old state tournament, the ones that used to wrestle in, just like that, it
Mm-hmm.
would be like top six, like, 16-man bracket, top six.
Mm. I mean, this would be, I mean, just the Long Island region, top eight from both would go absolutely insane. And I know every single person would have their eyes on that tournament. Even
Exactly.
even the upstate ones. I mean, if this is so one thing I want to say is in order for this proposal to like make sense, they would have to make a couple of changes. Number one is they would have to make it a one division tournament, right? That's essential to this proposal. And number two is they have to let the wrestlers travel, right? So I know like the in New York, there's a lot of restrictions, right? I mean, now it's definitely freed up a little bit. Like when I was in school, it was not common at all for wrestlers to go to Beast of the East, to Iron Man, to Powerade. Like that was not a thing. I never got to go to any of those tournaments. I've said it before in some of my past videos, which is something that still bothers me to this day. I know now St. Francis was there. They take a lot of the nationally ranked wrestlers that we do have in New York are going to these tournaments. But that's not enough. We need to have kids that aren't the nationally ranked wrestlers in New York going to these tournaments. Even if they lose, even if they go 1-2, 2-2, you can still get quality wins. Let's say a solid wrestler from New York goes to the Beast of the East or the Ironman, right? He's not a nationally ranked guy, but he's a solid wrestler. This is let's say like an all state level guy, right? In New York. He might go in 2-2 at the Ironman, but those two wins might be uh, for example, an Ohio placer, and then the other win might be like a national prep placer, right? Those are quality wins right there. And those would be counted towards what you said to that Sweet 16 or like criteria points. So it, we need to have the one division for this. And then also we need to free up these restrictions and we need to have more wrestlers going to these high level tournaments, not just the state champions. It needs to be also the more, you know, a little bit under the state champions need to be going to these national like the flow major tournaments.
Definitely. And that's the big difference between New York and the other states right now because there's only three states, I believe. There might be one other, but there's three states to my knowledge that have one division, and that's California, that's Indiana, and that's New
In New
Jersey.
Jersey. Yep.
A lot of these other states, it's like PA is a great example. You win big school PA, you're a monster. You win small school PA, you're a monster. You place at big school PA, you're a monster. You place at small school PA, you're a monster. In
It
New
doesn't
York, it's
matter.
like in New York, it's like if you win D1, it's like pretty cool. If you win D2, it's not as cool as if you won D1.
Yep.
And then if you place D1, that's obviously just tougher to do than D2. And they're just saying that
Absolutely.
there's no depth anymore. So it's like for a state that's really struggling with its depth and getting guys out there, they need
We
that
need
one
to combine
division
it.
tournament.
I
That way,
agree.
every single guy in the podium earned that spot, and it's a big deal if you're an all-state wrestler.
Absolutely. And you know what the funny thing about all this is two of the states that are one division would probably be the ones that could afford to do two divisions. You know what I'm saying? Like California is so good and so deep. There's so many wrestlers that if they had a two division tournament, it would both divisions would go crazy. It really wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like they would have depth all the way through top eight on both sides. Same thing in New Jersey, right? If New Jersey had two divisions, it would still be tough for the both divisions. Now, New York is a state that can't afford to have two divisions, which is what you're saying, and which is what I agree with. We are not a state that can afford to have two divisions, especially with the way things are going, right? We need our trajectory to be up, and I've made videos about this. We have half the amount of nationally ranked wrestlers now compared to 2014. So that showed you that the trajectory is not going here, it's going here, right? So, people could say, oh, Lou, whatever, da, 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 you're talking down on New York. Listen, I love my state and I have facts to back this up. If the trajectory was going up and we were getting more nationally ranked wrestlers, then this argument would not be as valid. They'd be like, yo, things are improving. So what are you talking about, Lou? But I have the stats to back it up that we don't have the nationally ranked wrestlers compared that we had 10, 12 years ago. So, and even states like Ohio, right, and Illinois, right, they're so good at wrestling states that all three, I think Ohio has three, and I think Illinois has three, right?
Ohio has
All,
three, yeah, and Illinois has, yep, yep.
and Illinois has, yeah, you would know because you're in Ohio now. But all three of those guys that win are all studs. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, I'm sure maybe the large school is probably, a little bit better in Ohio, but all three of them are tough. Same thing in Illinois. All three of them are tough. So they can afford because those are perennial powers every single year. New York, we need a change needs to happen in order to bring our trajectory going back this way. And like we're talking about now, and like I agree with you with, I think one division and traveling are two crucial points to make that happen.
No, and something else like is that I've noticed that the Division Two state tournament really just feels like an upstate tournament. Like all the best guys from upstate are in D2 and all the best guys
Mm-hmm.
in, downstate are D1. So like, like Nassau County, Suffolk County, they're much better in D1 than they are in D2. But then
Yeah, absolutely.
you look at the central region over there, section 3 and 4, D2, it's like those are all the champs, and then in D1, it's like those guys aren't getting on the podium. So you're really just taking all the best guys and like keeping them away from each other. Because
Exactly.
you got and like coming out of the the central region, you got Maverick Beckwith, you got Schaefer. And then in Long Island, you got Cameron Howard and you got Dunia, so it's like all the best guys from upstate are in certain sections and all the best guys in um downstate are in other sections and they're just not going to beat
Absolutely.
each other in the current landscape.
I 100% agree. And another thing I want to point out too is, especially in D2, if you're, let's say you're a wrestler like Maverick Beckwith, right? Like they are completely walking through the tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like in D2, like they're not getting challenged at all. You know what I mean? Now in Division 1, that can still happen with a guy like Cameron Howard, who's ranked, number 2 in the country, was ranked 1 for a while. He's walking through the tournament. But for the most part, that's less common in Division 1 in New York. In Division 2, if you're a high level wrestler, like like nationally ranked guy, or you're on the cusp of that national ranking, you're pretty much dominating Division 2. Like it's like I look at it sometimes and I'm like, does that even feel like a state tournament to you? You know what I'm saying? Like the wrestler, I literally asked that to myself. I'm like, if you're a Division 2 guy and you literally walk through your tournament, like, does that even feel fulfilling? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I say that respectfully. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And I actually, I want to reiterate it. I just said this in the last video that I did where I talked to the Kellenberg head coach Joe Fiore. My junior year, I went 51-1, and I won the states, right? And the guy who won Division 2 went 50-0, right? And the
Mhm.
guy I beat in the state finals was from Section 6. His name is Eric Lewandowski. The guy who won Division 2 is from Section 6. He beat Eric Lewandowski during the year. So he beat the guy that I beat in the state finals, but we never saw each other. So that is a
No,
big problem. That is a huge problem. And under this proposal and these changes, that would not happen. We would have wrestled each other at some point, or we would have been in the same bracket. And you there's never that what if anymore.
exactly. You win that tournament, you're the man. I mean, the whole season was leading up to that match, and it didn't happen just because they were keeping you guys separated from each other. When that really should
Yep,
have been like that should have determined who the state champ is. I'm gonna give an
absolutely.
example real quick, and I'm not trying to throw any kind of shade at like any wrestlers that I bring up or anything like that. But there was
Hmm.
this guy, he was from Section 2. His name was Orion Anderson.
Okay.
He was a three-time Division 2 state champ.
Okay.
Every single year that he won Division 2, Adam Buziello won Division 1 in the same weight
Hmm.
class. So
Yes,
you're a three-time state champ, but all three of those years you were never actually the best guy in the state. And it's
yeah,
like, what do you want? Do you want state titles or do you want to prove that you're the best guy in the state? I'm not saying that,
absolutely.
I'm not asking him that question. I'm asking the federation that question because you're separating all the best guys. That could have been the finals all three of those years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think from what I hear, the federation, they're more in the business of participation as opposed to actual quality. You know what I mean? Like I've heard this many times that they want representation from every section in the state tournament, right? Which listen, I understand, right? I understand, but in my opinion, you should have to earn it. You know what I mean? Like it's not just and this is what's going to translate to the next level. You know what I mean? So section 10 is not even they don't even have any division 1 schools anymore, right? When I was wrestling, there was always a section 10 guy in the bracket and they would come in dead last every single year, right? And this is not me knocking section 10. I want section I wish every section in New York State is strong and competitive, right? But it's like how are you going to have that spot when like we've said already, when there's a guy who takes fourth in Suffolk County who would attack that kid, where there's a guy who took fourth in Nassau County that would attack that kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Section 10, I feel like all I've been saying is bad about Section 10. So I want to. There are some studs that come out of Section 10. There was an NCAA champion that came out of Section 10. I can't remember
That'd
his
be
name.
Mitch Clark. That'd be from
Mitch
Ohio
Clark. Yeah,
State.
Mitch
He's the
Clark.
only guy to get a first period tech fall in the Division 1 national
There
finals.
you go. So there you go. I mean, it go there. So there are studs that come out of every section. I remember from section 7, right? You had there's the team Peru, and there was a
Yeah.
guy named Eric Robinson who was a problem. And when he would go to Eastern States, he would beat all the Division 1 guys. So this is not me saying that they can't compete. I just want them to compete, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that they can't compete. I just want them to compete. If their best guys are in Division 2, send them with the best guys. You know what I'm saying? Like if their best guys come from a small school, why just let them walk through the whole tournament when they could be the best guy in the state? Let them be challenged and let the fans, the New York wrestling fans, see what they want to see. I'm not in the business of participation. I'm in the business of making sure my state continues to get better, and I want us to translate to the next level. I want us to have we had 3 All-Americans this year, Division 1. I want us to have 6, 7, 8. And this regional structure is more modeled after an NCAA Division 1 type of tournament. So if the kids get used to wrestling to this in this, setup, when they go to college, when they go to Division 1, they're already comfortable there. You know what I'm saying? They're like, this was my state tournament. I already did this already. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah, no, geographically, I mean, there's equity, that Long Island area, that downstate area, they're all sending the same amount of guys. If you're the best
Yep.
guy in Section 7, you shouldn't go to the state. But if you're the best guy, if you're a top six guy between Section 2, 7, and 10, you should go, you
Yes.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just where I'm at. And then with this, obviously the sectional gear would be gone. I want to hear your opinion on that. I just noticed like nobody's even wearing it anymore. Like if people were wearing it at the tournament, I'd be like, keep it. But like, I feel like you should either have it or not have it.
Yeah, so my opinion on this, I liked the sectional singlets personally. I always felt like it was kind of like repping where you're from, you know what I'm saying? And not to say that you're repping your school, but it was cool to have that 8 on the singlet, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of section 11 guys, they're proud to have that 11
More
on
so
their
than any
singlet.
other section.
Of
Yeah.
course, I mean, when you
Yeah.
see that singlet and you're seeing a Suffolk guy, it's about to be a problem. They got that Penn State looking singlet. So um I always thought, it was super dope. But yeah, I mean, if we're in a regional structure, it's I mean, essentially I feel like they still could wear the sectional singlets because even if you're from the Long Island, there's gonna be Um, oh, but there's a possibility that, hypothetically speaking, so in the region, it's wait, top six in each region. So hypothetically speaking, the no Nassau guys could go in a bracket.
Yeah, you got to show
So
that you're a top six guy on Long Island. If you're a
yeah,
top
you're
six
right.
guy on Long Island, you go.
Yeah, if yeah,
And
okay,
that's
okay.
actually a really good segue into my next slide, which here we'll just go to this one. This is what a regional tournament would have looked like in 2014 at 99
Yeah, I
pounds.
was waiting for this
Yeah,
right here, bro. This is
yeah,
fire right here.
yeah. No,
This is fire.
so I mean, like, this would be the field. You got from NASA, Ja'Cory Teamer, five-time state champ. John Gomez, two-time D2 state champ. John Lowe, D1 state champ. Garrett Gibbons, he was all state. Justin Vines, he was a state champ and finalist. Kyle Mosier,
Mm-hmm.
he was
A
five-time all
state
state, I think, and a state champ.
is yep.
Angelo Petrakis, state finalist. You got
Mm-hmm.
Sparacchio, state champ.
State
Tommy
champ,
Coggs, state champ. Adam Buziel, five-time state champ.
champ.
Phil Spadafore took third in the state twice. Jake Silverstein,
Mm-hmm.
state champ. He lost to Ja'Cory and Vito in overtime also in the
Mm-hmm.
finals. Chris Gomez was a state champ. James Trezor was all state. Jack Okino was a D2, problem. So
Yeah,
I just
I
feel like,
mean,
you want to get eyes on wrestling, man. Like this is it.
this
The
is
thing
it
about
right
this
here.
bracket, somebody's gonna go 0-2 in this bracket, and all these guys are super experienced to like really just like that S tier degree, in, in
Yeah, I
in
mean,
comparison to the rest of the guys in the area.
yeah, I mean, this is a perfect example, and I'm sure there's a lot more if you go through it, but
Oh
this is
yeah.
just this is
Oh
this
yeah.
is insane right here. Like, only six guys are gonna make it, right? But every single one of those six guys are can win a state title. You know what I mean? This year. We're taking the top six guys here, let's say it was, Ja'Cory, let's say it was Busiello because he took second that year. I believe
I think Spraccio took like fifth or sixth, or maybe
yeah,
fourth. Fourth,
Sparacio was
yeah. Maybe
there.
fourth. Yeah.
Let's say John Gomez was in there. I mean, if you do that, let's say those six guys go to the state tournament, and then you do that state tournament 10 different times, you might get 10 different results. You know what I'm saying? So this is the type of depth that New York needs, and these guys are going to have to be extremely prepared to wrestle in this tournament. There is no mistakes, and that's what high level wrestling is. That's what college wrestling is. There is no mistakes here. You come to this regional tournament is the level of a state championship. This is harder than the state championship that we have nowadays. You know what I mean? This is just a region, a Long Island region. So, and like we said, like this is going to bring eyes. This is something that could be talked about, could still be making videos about to this day. You know what I'm saying? If this was a bracket. So, I mean, I love this. And this is what New Jersey and Pennsylvania is dealing with on a regular basis every single year. Just
Oh
for the
yeah.
people, just for the people that are against this, this should show you right here. This is what New Jersey, this is what Pennsylvania, this is what California is dealing with on a regular basis, right? And if New York has any hopes of even catching up to these states, we need to implement this style of tournament. Because if not, they're going to keep going like this, and we're going to keep going like this, and that gap is just going to keep getting larger and larger and larger.
Yeah, no, and I think that it would be cool too. Like imagine the tournaments at Hofstra, and on that big jumbotron in Hofstra, you see the Nassau County team score and the Suffolk County team score. So
It
that
would
all
be
those regional
crazy.
tournaments, section 5 versus 6, section 3 versus 4, it's all like you're competing for your school, you're competing for your spot at the state tournament, and
Mm-hmm.
you're helping your section in the team race. By the end of it, there's not going to be any question as to Nassau's better, Suffolk's better. By the end
Mm-hmm.
of that
Mm-hmm.
tournament, you're going to know who was the better section on that day.
Yep. And also I want to say that I believe it was my senior year. We actually had Nassau and Suffolk at Hofstra at the same time. Now, obviously, it was a
Yeah.
separate
No, that
tournament.
tournament was awesome. Yeah.
That I'm telling you, that was one of that had
I
more
was there.
energy
Yeah,
than
yeah.
this. Yeah, that
Yeah.
had more energy than the
Yeah.
state championship. You know what I mean? Like, bro, the stands packed, and you got a whole bunch of Long Island loudmouth dads going, screaming, going crazy. That was an incredible experience for me as a competitor to compete in that environment. And now imagine that it's that, but you take it a step further, and we're not separated, and they're going against each other. So crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. And then this is what the state tournament would end up looking like. This would be the bracket. It
Okay.
would be all the top six guys in their region. You would seed it all out. There's those pigtails. You lose that match, you're out of the tournament. But whoever wins this is, you are the New York State champion in all
Absolutely.
senses of the word. You're not the Division two state champ. You're not the D1 state champ where the tougher guy was in D2. You're the state champ.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no room for argument here. Um, yeah, this would be even looking at this, right? 30, so is the tournament now, is it 36 or 32 now?
I believe it's 32 split into two
Yeah,
divisions.
yeah, I believe it's 32. Okay.
Yeah. New Jersey is I think 32, but it's just the one division.
Yeah, yeah, it's just the one division. Okay,
So
32.
you can make this a 2 or 3 day tournament, whichever one.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's another thing I've heard people complain about. Like the people who are in charge are like, "Oh, but it would be a 3-day tournament. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, make it a 3-day tournament. Like, what are we doing here? Like, are we, what are we? We're gonna make the tournament worse just to for convenience? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, nah, bro. Like, keep it real. Like, let's have a real tournament. I love this right here, bro. 36
Thank you.
man bracket.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm sure there's little, nitty gritty details that would have to be fine tuned. You know what I'm saying? This is an idea. This is a broad idea, but the you're there. You already have the broad idea. It's all there. Those nitty gritty details are things that can be spoke about in meetings. You know what I mean? Where they say, okay, oh, there's a problem here. There's a little problem here. We gotta figure this out. But the broad idea is definitely there, and you know, this is how the best states are doing it. This is how California is doing it. This is how New Jersey's doing it. This is how Pennsylvania is doing it. And there's another argument that a lot of people come to me in the comments. They're like, "Oh, but Lou, there's states that have 3 or 4 divisions, right? New York only has 2, so we're still like we still have some of the least divisions in the country." But my answer to that is, okay, Ohio and Illinois has whatever 3 divisions, right? We are not in the same conversation as them. They are better than us, point blank. Period.
Yeah.
Right? We are not close to them. I don't care. People might say, "Yo, Lou, you're bugging." We are not close to them, bro. They have much as a whole. Their quality of wrestling is a lot higher than us, right? So now, if you want to compare us to other states like ones that aren't even that good, you know what I mean, that have multiple divisions, but why even compare ourselves to that? You know what I'm saying? Like if there's states like I don't know, I think like Florida has like 6 divisions or something, right? Like why do we want to compare ourselves to that? You know what I mean? We're not chasing. We want to chase the best states in the country. We don't want to say, "Oh, we're okay because there's worse states that are doing more divisions." Nah,
Look,
that doesn't
yeah, the
matter.
the goal of this proposal is just to make that New York State tournament, right, like respected just like those other state tournaments. Right now it's getting a lot of flack. People are saying it's not deep. People are saying, oh, the best guys don't end up actually seeing each other. This way it's not that way. And I think that's something that'd be really cool. And I know for a fact you're gonna like this. So this would be a one state champion single division tournament, right?
Yes.
New Jersey's the same thing. So why not have them just wrestle each other in a dual meet? Bring back New York versus New Jersey. You
Oh,
have
I
one
mean,
state champ in New York. You got one state champ in New Jersey. Make it a dual meet. Make it an annual thing. It'd be awesome. That'd be one of the best products in wrestling.
absolutely. Now this would be like an exhibition. Like this
It'd be
wouldn't
like,
be
yeah, yeah. It'd be like
yeah, like
the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic, basically.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
we
Yeah.
had this. We had the pitting down autism. I
Yeah.
wrestled in it twice, right? And now the problem with that was honestly, bro, New Jersey was not taking this as serious as New York was. You know what I mean? Like we won most. I think they only won once. New Jersey. That's not. That's not right. You know what I mean? Like they, their mentality was like as New York, right? We had something to prove, right? Because we're like we have to beat New Jersey. You know what I mean? Like we got to show them how good we are. New Jersey's mentality was the mentality that United States had in the World Baseball Classic. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you follow that,
Oh
but
yeah,
they
yeah.
had the
I'm
mentality
following.
of
I'm following.
we already know we're the best, so we don't even got
Yeah.
to send our best guys. This doesn't matter. It's just an exhibition to us. So New Jersey, they were sending, they sent like the first year I wrestled BJ Clagan, who was the
Yeah,
best guy
he
in New
was really
Jersey.
good.
He
He's a
was
D1
the
All-American. Yeah.
yeah, D1 All-American, two-time New Jersey state champion. So I wrestled the New Jersey state champion, right? But in a lot of the other weights, they were sending their number 4 guy, their number 5 guy, and they were still competing. Meanwhile, New York's team was pretty much all of the state champions because we knew that's the only way we had a chance to win this. You know what I mean? So, um, if we really truly had the state champions from New York versus the state champions from New Jersey, and we're talking the real state champions, I believe that New York would definitely compete. I think that it would not be an easy dual meet for New Jersey. I would obviously give the edge to New Jersey, but I don't think that they would walk all over us. I think it would be a very competitive dual meet, my opinion.
I think it'd be a competitive duel meet, and I also think that the demand's there. People would go and see this. People would watch, tune in on Flow Wrestling. That's what
Oh
the sport
yeah.
needs. They need eyes on the sport. They need good events being made. I came up with that Long Island Regional Championship kind of thing, right? This is another one
Mhm.
of those events that is just adding eyes to the sport and getting traction in wrestling. So the more of that
Absolutely.
you can do, the better. If you can make a proposal that is also growing wrestling at the same time, I think that, that's really what I try to do here.
No, absolutely. I mean, people. So we have a minute and 20 seconds
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna get my last thought in. People talk about the two divisions that it improves participation because you have kids gaining all state status on. There's more all state wrestlers, so they're saying that increases participation. My combat to that, my answer to that is what really increases participation is when everybody in the damn country is watching your state tournament, where people care about your state tournament, where your state tournament matters like crazy. To me, that's what increases participation. That's something that people want to be a part of. When you want to be a part of a group or a part of a scene, you want to be a part of it because it means something and it makes you feel special. And this right here would definitely do that for New York. So, Max Ebanks, I appreciate you for coming to the 152 show. This was super dope what you put together. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man. I'm happy to be here. And yeah, hopefully, things change in the right direction.
Absolutely. All right. Much love, brother. Talk soon.
Wrestling gang, what up?